Boom, boom, boom. All right, transitions do it between 2 points. Animations do it between 2 or more points. Transition properties, transition property all, transition property duration, transition timing function, transition delay. Animation properties, animation name, animation duration, iteration count, direction, timing function, delay, fill mode, play state. To learn about these, MDN, which one does it between 2 points? Transitions. Which one does it between 2 or more points? Animations. So we're going to go MDN transitions. And then here we could see shorthand property for transition property, transition duration, transition timing function, and transition delay. All right, well, let's learn about each of those. Transition property is used to specify the names of CSS properties to which a transition effect should be applied. Transition property none. We could click on values, right? It's a property value. We could click on values to see the value. But here are some examples. None, all, test, specific, sliding vertical. We'll see what those are. Values. No properties will transition. All properties that can have an animated transition will do so. A string identifying the property to which a transition effect should be applied. Identifying the property to which a transition effect should be applied when its value changes. The identifier is composed by case-sensitive letters A to Z, ... So examples in this transitions article. All right, maybe we'll go look at that. Transition duration, it's how long the transition is going to last. Property specifies the number of seconds or milliseconds the transition should take to complete. By default, the value is 0, meaning no animation will occur. You may specify multiple durations. Each duration will be applied to the corresponding property as specified by the transition property. Transition property. Multiply each duration will be applied to the corresponding property, which acts as a master list. If there are fewer durations specified than the master list, the user agent repeat the list of durations. If there are more durations, the list is simply truncated to the right size. In both cases, whoever wrote this, man, can't write English. In both cases, the CSS declaration stays valid. So a couple of them. Can we do multiple on these? I only see 1, 1, 1. Oh, here's 2. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So we could say, it's funny that this like test animation. I don't try to understand that because I thought this one here, the property to which the transition effect should be applied, but test 1 doesn't seem like a property. All right. Transition timing function is used to describe how the intermediate values of CSS properties being affected by a transition effect are calculated. This, in essence, lets you establish an acceleration curve, ease in, ease out, instead of just a linear, where you could have linear, like same speed, start to end. It could ease in, start slow, and then finish, or it could ease out, start, and then slow down, and ease out, right? Transition timing function. And if you want to delay, change, specifies the amount of time to wait between a change being requested a property that is transitioned, the start of the transition effect. So let's create something and see if we can't just build this by reading the documentation and me not having coded transitions since like April or May, right? 0.26, because they're still somewhat new to me. Transitions. I'm still somewhat new to all this. Somehow or another, I didn't achieve mastery. And you need to really focus when you get in the world and get good at something, and like I kind of got moved around. So like I did some stuff here, like they hired me to teach accounting. I taught that for a year. And then I got moved into online ed. I did that for, counting that to HTML and web, like for 3 or 4 years, and then did online ed for a couple of years, and then got, went back into programming. It's like, I kind of just like learn something to move on to the next thing, not to learn that. But then it's like, oh yeah, what was that old thing? But I never like really became the master of one. I think it happens to a lot of people. All right, so now we're going to do a transition. So I want a div, and I'm going to do HTML body div and a little reset. So padding 0, border 0, and margin 0, and box sizing border box, and then we're going to do body height 100 viewport heights, display flex, and that's flex directions row, and flex wrap is no wrap, and justify content is center, and align items is center. And then we're going to do div, and the div will be a width of like, 60 VW, and a height of I'll do like 6. Yeah, I like that, 60 VW, a height of 60 viewport height. We'll see what that looks like, and a border radius of 50%, and a background color of turquoise looks good, and a border of like 10 pixels groove, and some kind of a blue. Give me a color. Awesome. Let's see what it looks like. Wow. What? Because you know what I do wrong? Why isn't this working? Thank you. All right, that's cool. Except I'm going to bring this one to like 500 pixels just to get symmetry. All right, I like that better. And now I'm going to do a div hover and love ha. What's love ha?
Link, hover, after.
Love. What comes after LV? Love. Link. Link or linked? Linked. Linked. It's linked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Linked or linked? And is that under selectors and pseudo selectors, nested selectors, pseudo class, link visited hover active. So it's link visited hover active. All right, we're just going for hover. We'll go for background color of something darker. And so we're right here. We'll just go a little darker. Okay. And now we want to add some transition. And so we want to add a transition. Let's look at the documentation. We have transition property. So transition property, right, we have to put, rule sets are made up of selectors, a declaration block, has declarations, has property and values. So, here's a property value, it's a declaration, it goes in a rule set. So let's do transition property. Transition property, and we could do like all here just to start out, but what can we do other than all? Test 05, like that doesn't make sense to me. Let's go look at that well, let's see this one first, and we'll go look at that article. Transition property all, and then duration, yeah, let's give it a duration. Transition duration, and we'll do like 2 seconds, just really make it slow. And then we have duration and timing function, transition timing function, and we'll do ease out.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you see a difference? All right. So a little bit of a transition. And if we brought this down to like, what is it, 500 milliseconds? It's just a little nicer, right? I wonder if I get code completion on this. No code completion. So let's look at that article and see if it says anything here about. So there's an article with examples. I thought that was here. Formal examples, this article. Initial state, final state. Which properties are animatable? The web author can define which property has to be animated in which way. This allows the creation of complex transitions as it doesn't make sense to animate some properties. A list of animatable properties is limited to a finite set. So here's what could be animated. So this is properly the properties we could put in. So I see height, I don't see hover. Right, I don't see hover on there. Oh, background color is what we did, right? So we did background color. But like, what's that test 1 stuff, you know? All right, like in the example, it had test 1, remember? And so here we could put, instead of all, we could do background color, and this should still work. And if we didn't have that, it looks the same. Now it doesn't. All right, but put this back on. Does it do it without me specifying it? Oh, it does it without me specifying it. Right, just figures out you must have meant to apply that to all. Maybe the default's all. The default must be all. But if this was to border, right, we're not going to see anything because we haven't changed the border. So we could do all. It's kind of cool, transition. And we saw one where it moved. So let's see it moving. So to move stuff, (0, 2). I'll just break this up.